Hi guys, Jeff here at Arco Marine once again. Today I want to point out issues that you might be having with your marine rotating electric. Let's talk outboard starters. There are issues like burnouts. You ask, what are burnouts? Burnouts happen when either your ignition switch stick or it's hard to crank that day because of bad gas or whatever, and you keep cranking and you let off the switch and hit it again immediately. Starters need a 10 to 15 second at least break to cool off. What you're doing is overheating the starter, hence burnout. Kickbacks are another issue. Kickbacks are caused from either water ingestion into one or more cylinders or timing issues. Maybe your timing belt's a little slack and it's jump time. It'll kick back. Sometimes you won't hear these issues happen, but we can tell when the starter gets back. Last but not least, poor wiring conditions. Now this could be corroded wires, loose wires, or wires that are just really old. Electricity needs good, strong wires to travel to our components. Always check your wiring first, and always check the battery voltage. And check the voltage at the battery. Say you have 12.6, and make sure you have close to that at the starter. If you don't, you have 10.4 or something like that, that could be loss of voltage due to poor wiring or a loose connection. Let's talk inboard starters. Water in starter. That is the #1 problem with inboard starters. They're so low in the bilge that any buildup of water in the bilge goes straight into the starter. What will happen is the flywheel will pick up this water, sling it into your starter, causing a rust condition. If you think this end is rusty, what do you think the electrical parts are? Water ingestion into one or more cylinders. This is called what we call a kickback. When the engine stops from a high RPM, everything stops that quickly, including your starter. What happens is that over time will cause the bolts to stretch. When the bolts stretch, you get a condition like on these pads of wear where this starter is moving ever so slightly every time you engage it. This wears down the pads, there's less contact, and it pulls this gear away from the flywheel. So always pay close attention and make sure no kickbacks happen on your engine. Good maintenance stops a lot of this. 3, never strike the side of the starter with any object trying to get it to start. 1, that will not help, and 2, it will break the magnets that are inside the starter, and probably a good starter just went bad. Let's talk alternators. Alternators must turn at the proper RPM. So the first thing we want to check is that belt tight? How to check that is with the engine off. If you can grab the front of the alternator fan and turn it in any direction, that belt is not tight. Fix that, might fix your alternator. Second thing I want to mention, I've mentioned this before, but alternators are not battery chargers. If your battery is 8.2 volts and you jump it off and crank it up and head out on the water, it is not going to bring that battery up to 12.6 and above where it needs to be. Never disconnect the battery cable while an alternator is running. Now I know this is an old school trick, but with the new alternators, the way they are designed, one time could destroy the alternator you just purchased. Please follow the wiring instructions and diagrams that are provided in your new Arco part. Thank you for trusting Arco Marine with your reputation. And again, if you got any questions, feel free to email us at sales@arcomarine.com or give us a call, 1-800-772-2720.